This is the latest CX-5 from Mazda, and for 2019 there's a lot of standard equipment that's coming with this, including a lot of safety features as well. Well, over the past few years, Mazda's really been upping its game and really trying to align themselves with some more premium brands. And one way they've been doing that is by introducing a real top-of-the-line class, which they call Signature trim. It was on the CX-9, on the latest Mazda 6, and now this CX-5. This is the Signature trim. So today we're going to see what's new with the CX-5, as well as how far this Signature trim really tips that premium scale. One thing I think Mazda has really nailed it is with their design and their styling in the last few models of vehicles they've done. The CX-5, it's unmistakable when you see one driving down the road with this type of front grille area. Just look at it. Those headlights just kind of blend right into this mesh style grille. It looks like mesh, but when you get closer, they're actual kind of little 90-degree angles on top of each other, so it's actually quite complex. And then you get this chrome piece. I'm not a huge fan of chrome, but it works for this model, probably because it's the only chrome in the front, there's nothing on the bottom, and it just ties everything together. Then you have the LED light treatment, which are active. They can turn with the vehicle, and even the small, tiny little driving light at the bottom, it looks nice and tight and tidy. Everything just, it's very cohesive, and it does look very premium. Onto the side profile, the Signature gets 19-inch alloy wheels, and the side, I wouldn't say it's really fancy in terms of lines, but what I do like about the CX-5 in general is the size of it. It's very proportional. The CX-9 is a great looking vehicle, but this just really, everything works so well with the CX-5 for the proportions. Signature trim also gets power folding mirrors as well. In the back, it's a nice clean design. You have the LED tail lamps, you have dual exhaust, and of course a standard power tailgate. One thing, however, though, you can't get one of those smart tailgates where you kind of kick underneath or just stand by it, and I think that would be a really nice addition, and a lot of premium vehicles are including that now. So let's have a look at what you can fit in here. Here's my camera bag here, and I brought along my suitcase. I'm heading off on a trip, but you can see this is not a small case at all, and plenty of room. One thing I really like though is you have dual handles on the left side and a single handle on the right side to fold those rear seats down, and I like how you can do them individually, including the center. Also in the back, a 12-volt outlet, and underneath this mat is a full-size spare tire, and they've incorporated the Bose system inside that wheel. That's a smart use of space. The new CX-5 already had a nice looking and feeling interior, but the Signature trim really ups the ante for sure. As soon as you sit in the seats, first of all, these are Napa leather seats. They are heated and ventilated. Talk about heated, this also gets heated rear seats as well. Heated steering wheel with this nice stitching. One thing I have to point out, it's cold today. I turned on the heated steering wheel, and it's much like my Highlander, where they've only heated just the sides of the steering wheel, not the top nor the bottom. Yes, you're supposed to have your hands at 9 and 3 or 10 and 2 around that area anyways. Let me tell you, if you have a steering wheel that is only heated halfway, you will eventually be holding on to those cold spots, and it just really feels like an omission. In behind the steering wheel, a nice center digital display. It's configurable. It looks very analog in the gauge wise for the speedometer, and above that is a very advanced head-up display. This is a true projection system. It's not going onto a piece of folding glass or plexi that you see in some of the other models, and there's a lot of information that you get there. In the center, the Signature trim gets a 7-inch display. Now, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that big compared to some of the others on the market. It's adequate size for this size vehicle. Would I like to see it bigger? Sure, but it's very easy to use. You can control it with the dial and the buttons here for home, and you have some shortcut buttons. You have a volume switch right beside the large switch here, but it also works as a touchscreen. And there is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay now. Below that, you have your HVAC controls, your heating and your heated seats and things. It's very neat. Just like the front, it's very tidy. One thing I did notice, though, I think the system is, for me, it's a little bit on the slow side. It's a little bit laggy, but that can be improved with firmware down the road. Also, this has a backup camera, but there is no 360 or, that bird's eye view camera system that you've seen in other vehicles. I really wish it came with that system, or at least that it was an option that you could actually get. And then along with the Napa leather seats, you also get real wood trim. This is a Abachi wood trim, and that's what Mazda's calling it. I'm not exactly sure what Abachi means, but I'm sure it's a pretty premium style or type of wood. As we mentioned, in the spare tire is the Bose subwoofer. So this does come with the Bose sound system, power moonroof, as well as a frameless rear view mirror. In the center, it's got ample storage. I've got my sunglasses in here. There's a 12-volt outlet, 2 USB ports. Let's go in the back. Okay, in the back, it's not tight at all. The seat is set where it would be set for me sitting up front, and my knees are not touching. What I like is that there's a lot of height at the bottom to put your feet. Some vehicles are really narrow where you can just kind of get your toes in there. Headroom is very good here. I will be putting the car seats in here to try them out with the kids as well. And 2 USBs in the front in that middle console. And at first I said, well, that's odd. There's no USBs in the rear, which in this day and age, there really should be. But when I pulled the middle armrest down, that is where your heated seat switches are. And in another compartment is a little box where you have 2 USB connections as well. So good job, Mazda. Off we go. The Signature trim also comes with the proximity key, so it's keyless entry and keyless start. And here we go. Listen to that. What's new about this Signature trim is it comes standard with Mazda's 2.5 liter turbocharged dynamic pressure turbocharged engine. And that's found also in the CX-9, and we drove it last in the new Mazda 6. The 2.5 liter turbo really is a gem in all the products, and this is no different. So what is a dynamic pressure turbo? Well, to put it simply, it uses a valve body and it constricts exhaust gases at lower RPMs, like under 1600 RPM. So it closes up some valves. It's kind of like having your finger on a hose, and you get a lot more pressure. And so at lower RPMs, you have this amazing torque. And then of course, once you pass that 1600 RPM, it all opens up because you have enough pressure and it works like a conventional turbo. And when I say torque, there is a lot. 310 pound-feet of torque from this 4-cylinder turbo, and it really does come on very, very low. As for horsepower, this is interesting, is that this turbo engine can run on regular gas, not premium. On regular gas though, it is limited to 227 horsepower, yet if you put in the good stuff, the 91 octane, you get 250 horsepower from this 4-cylinder. The torque is the same regardless of what type of gas you put in. Power goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission that does have a manual shift option, and also there is a drive mode button, and if you put it over to sport, of course that changes the shift patterns, but it really changes the engine mapping as well. It's much more responsive. Along with holding those gears, it really makes this thing very lively to drive. All right, we are just at a light here. I'm just going to that's up to 110 kilometers an hour. Very, very quick off the line. And well, like I said, right now we are in sport mode. Let's put it back into normal. Our RPM is at 1500 RPM right now. We're going up a slight hill, but just a slight touch of that pedal, and you can really feel that torque. It is really substantial. Now, a lot of these images I'm showing you in the background are from the launch that was held in Whistler, British Columbia, Canada, just last month. And of course, you'll see there's a lot of snow. Yes, I want to show you that this is very capable in slippery conditions. All-wheel drive is standard on the Signature trim. Another reason why I'm showing you is because I absolutely love the Soul Red Crystal Metallic paint on this CX-5. You've probably seen it on other Mazdas. I think this is such a great color, and it really shines on this vehicle. Something else new, the CX-5 has the G Vectoring Control Plus. So what that is the G vectoring control. It's a torque vectoring system. So it uses minute motor inputs while you're driving and turning, and to actually shift weight to certain wheels to give you better traction and better performance. Now they've added the GVC Plus, and what that does is after you've done your turn, for instance, say we're going around this right-hander right now. Ooh. Okay, when you turn back, what it's using a little bit of brake on the outside wheel. It's very subtle. You really don't notice it, but you do notice the difference of handling. Basically, it helps prevent you from overcorrecting. So once you've turned and went and made your correction, it's not doing that other little wobble or bobble, however you want to call it. And this is extremely handy at higher speeds in emergency situations as well. So it really helps keep you in control. Safety-wise, this is equipped with the iActive Sense. So it has the entire suite of, you have radar cruise control, lane keeping assist, pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alert. I even noticed something that was quite interesting is I had the electronic emergency brake on in my driveway, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, if you have these e-brakes on, a lot of times you don't have to turn them off. You put it to drive, and as soon as you push the gas on, it disengages. So that's what I did, and I was actually trying to disengage, and it wouldn't disengage. It would just kind of drag that rear brake for a few inches. I wasn't sure why. And then I looked in the center cluster, and it showed that my door was open. So that's a pretty good thing. So it would not allow me to go or proceed with the e-brake on because my door was ajar a little bit. So yeah, lots of technology here. As far as compact SUVs go, I really have to say this CX-5 with this 2.5 liter turbo engine for performance is pretty well near the top for sure. You know, this is more of a driver's vehicle opposed to some of the other crossovers out there, and they've really done a great job. It feels very light. It's very nimble. The suspension is sprung just right, and because of its lower weight, it's not carrying all that weight. Yeah, like you can really throw it around. Now, I just went around that corner, no braking, went too fast on purpose. It's wet outside, and you could really feel all that all-wheel drive system just kicking into action, all those sensors going off. Recently, I just drove the Volvo XC40, and a lot of people compared the XC40 to the CX-5, and I think it's a fair comparison. They're similar size, similar performance specs, but one thing that's not similar is their price in a way. If you outfit a fully loaded one of these and compare it to a fully loaded XC40, the XC40 is going to run you about another $10,000. However, the XC40 does have some features that this one doesn't, like usable things, not things that affect the drive, but usable things that make it a really good urban utility, like that smart trunk, the 360 camera, which I think is almost a must nowadays. And of course you have different styling choices. As I mentioned, I like the design of this CX-5. However, I also love the funkiness of the XC40. I think it's a great looking vehicle as well. If you're in the market and you're comparing those two, I think it would really just come down to personal styling preference, really. They're both different vehicles in their own right. If you're a real driver and you put your importance to driving dynamics, I'd say I'd probably choose this one. Yeah, it goes good. It's a great engine. This is a really great engine. This signature trim Mazda CX-5 goes for $40,950, but there are no options other than color for optional colors like this gray metallic. If it were me though, I would definitely get that Soul Red Crystal Metallic paint. I think that's one of the best looking colors and paint jobs in the industry, regardless if it's on a CX-5 or not. So if you add everything together, the powertrain, the technology, the handling, it's a lot of fun to drive, and then on the interior, the fit and finish of the materials are first rate, and you compare them to its premium competitors, I think the CX-5 is a relative bargain. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more everyday reviews, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.